third game, they'll have the opportunity to pick blue side, as was alluded to by Joshi earlier. Now, Corki gone, LeBlanc gone, Senna gone. Feels very familiar. We'll see if T1 also ban the Tristana here, or will they ban the Ziggs? It's a question, you know, I didn't think I'd be asking today, but after game one, certainly something to consider. Rumble already taken away, and they will actually adapt and ban the Ziggs. Respect shown here for APA.
But I think it's a trap, because TL then just gets Tristana for free. It's a dangerous one. A gambit here taken from T1. Still not fully making up their mind just yet on the TL side, but I think this Tristana is a pretty confident lock-in, and I'm very intrigued as to what Faker has as the response to the Trist.
Something like an Azir here might just be the way Faker goes. You know, these are the two main AD mids that we have, the Corki, the Tristana, no longer available. We've seen Yone, but it's really tough to play. It's tough to play the Tristana here. And it could be one of those games where we just see T1 go back to comfort. Now, the Ashe is also still available, even without the Sejuani, without the Rumble. A very strong pick here. They don't have to lock in jungle just yet, because there's a pretty good chance they're not going to be looking for a strong AP jungle on their side. See what they grab with this. I think we will see Faker's mid-pick in this slot. The question is, what is it going to be? The Azir, the standout one for me.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Just a bit of a standard one here, and of course, APA can buffer the rocket jump to get out of Emperor's Divides and things like that. We've seen Tristana into Azir many, many times. We'll see. Oh, this is an adaptation, and I think mid lane Talia has been nerfed on this patch, right? But it was mainly the jungle variety, and Faker has certainly put in a whole bunch of hours on this particular pickup, so a different flavor of Shuriman mid laner. As now Umpty back to definitely one of his most played. Of course, he played 2 champions back in the LCS, and this is one of them.
Yep, the Sejuani game in game 1 looked pretty good. That was the other pick that he did play in the LCS. This will be the second. Picking the Talia early here is pretty interesting, considering they could have gone for a Vi pick in this slot as well if they wanted to play that duo. There's a lot of different options here being considered for APA. I think flexing that Tristana bottom is a risky call. Don't think this is really the angle TL are looking for. Maybe perhaps just reminding everyone how good he is at the champion. But he is gonna lock it. Oh no, he's not. That was just trolled by production.
Yeah, he's gonna lock in the Zeri instead. Just making sure he messes with us as much as possible. Staying on brand is APA in the mid lane. Not on brand though is Umpty. He's gonna be playing Maokai this game.
Vi stock's way up. You have the Talia already. Zeri can get locked down by Vi. Now you are playing into a Maokai, which can be kind of tricky for Vi. But I think your ability to lock down the Tristana, lock down the Zeri, it makes this one a pretty obvious lock-in here for Owner. Very classic LCK setup we have right now, where the arrow leads into a shove. You have the Vi follow-up. You can set it up with the Vi as well. So lots of really strong ways to kill this Zeri when we move into team fights later on. And this is a really tricky part of the draft here for both sides in terms of predicting what the top lane is going to play. And this is where red side gets a huge edge. On blue side, you got to take the Tristana away, but on red side, you get counter pick for Zeus.
Yeah, and I'm feeling like it's feeling very good for T1 because we haven't even mentioned the layering of targeted CC for Zeri is generally a good thing.
Yes.
And that's what they have in spades as well. And you mentioned the chain that can then occur. So Jan going to have to be very, very careful about his positioning in this particular game. Maybe not flashing into 3 people and pressing R like Zeus was pretty comfortable doing the last time around. There's Nautilus being taken away. So only one form of that brutal targeted CC you just can't get out of.
Yeah, that's one more gone, but they certainly can just opt into the Leona instead, unless they're going to ban it away themselves. So that is going to be taken off of the board here. See what this final ban is going to be. We pretty much have all of the main CC threats for Zeri already either locked in or banned away now. So this is a curious one. Perhaps a ban towards Zeus here on the top side might give us a hint as to what Impact is thinking here in this draft about what he wants to play. Can protect this pick a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm wondering now, with the Leona being banned away on the red side, the Gnar going to be taken away from Zeus. He hasn't been allowed to play that one all series long. Still does have the Cassante to go back towards if you would like to. but I'm just feeling like we might be in for a last pick Varus.
Yeah, that's what I was...
Like, I'm just feeling
You and I
it.
are on the same page. We cast this team so often. We know how they like to play these types of drafts, and that was exactly the same thought that was going through my mind. You ban the Gnar, they pick the Cassante. Now, they do have this Gragas in response here, which has been quite strong. Either the Twisted Fate or the Gragas, both are great picks into the Cassante in the top lane. Good for your damage profile if you do end up opting for the Gragas. It's like they're going to lock in.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
I haven't been happy with the Udyr.
Yeah,
personally, we haven't seen it do good things and have happy times on Summoner's Rift, Wolf.
Yeah, the Bard pick here is going to be pretty good. I'm a lot more of a fan of this one for Core JJ in the bottom lane and the ability to potentially control the Ashe matchup. This is one that does help out quite a bit, but it's going to get a little bit tricky if it's going to be, for example, a Varus or Kalista pick. Classic T1 bottom duo with Ashe. So many different combinations they can go for. A lot of discussion about this one. They end up opting to the Rakan. I liked the Bard more for what the lane is going to do, but with how well Core JJ played Rakan in game one, they played it like a pick comp. They have the setup to blow people up with this Tristana. I'm not going to hate this one. We doubted it last time. We saw some lane swaps, but it worked incredibly well. Let's see what the game plan is going to be here for T1. Sivir Ashe is another pick duo that they played before, actually, and they're going to do it again.
So it was the right idea that we were having, of course, with Keria playing the Ashe in the support role. We know him as probably the best Ashe support in the world and was for a very long time. It was a little bit sad that it was Beryl that got the Ashe skin in the end, but you can't have everything. I mean, still, this is absolutely terrifying and should have a lot of control on that bottom side if it is going to be standard lane.
They had so many different things they could have played with this Ashe. This is why Ashe is basically permaban domestically in the LCK, because it could have been Ashe Varus, Ashe Kalista, Ashe Sivir, and there's so many different ways you could just crush this bottom lane, and it's so hard to play around. Consider also the Rakan is very fragile. If he gets caught by any of this CC, including the Vi, he can get out of a lot of things, but targeted CC like that Vi ultimate just sets up everything else. Same with the Zeri. I think Umpty has a huge responsibility going to these team fights to make sure his ultimate is impactful. He can turn on a dime, shut some of these dives down if his ults are timed correctly. If he goes in and sets up a route at the right moment, Zeri gets that first kill, could be a completely different story. I don't think this draft is unplayable for TL by any means, but it feels like we're going back to T1's bread and butter, stock standard, what everybody loves to play in the LCK. This is their wheelhouse, and they've gotten a fantastic draft, to be honest with you, Atlas.
No, I would agree. I think that it doesn't take away from the fact that TL do have some strong points, but I just keep getting drawn towards the top lane, Wolf, and I'm not a big fan of the Udyr. And maybe, you know, watching FlyQuest really not find any value with it yesterday, could be coming into it. We'll have to see what Impact can do on the champion instead. But I'm hoping that we do see the level of pressure from this Udyr lane that you require extraordinarily early on. And the thing is, if it is going to be more of these lane swap shenanigans, maybe Team Liquid have a little bit of a plan to get Impact into a better spot so that throughout that early mid-game, he can really put the pressure on there, because it otherwise could just really once again be an Udyr running around and not really doing a whole lot of much towards the end of this game. Trying to be tanky, not necessarily figuring it out. As I think we do have, once again, a little bit of something going on. I think it was Keria that was being inspected momentarily, or maybe I am wrong. We'll just have to find out, as here we are. Never mind, nothing going wrong. We are ready for game number 3. I hope everyone in the Gidia Arena is also ready to dive into this one, as everyone's spawning in. I'm looking forward to seeing whether things are going to work out for TL like they did in game number 1, or whether T1 have just locked in and we're just going to have them sailing towards the final.
It has certainly been 2 very one-sided games leading up until this point, and this draft, we do give a huge edge to T1 based on the ways they can shut down this area, how comfortable they are with this composition. Obviously, we have 2 LCK casters sitting on the casting booth, so, you know, there's a little bit of feeling like I know what T1 can do with this more than I trust TL with this composition. Impact going to try to be a little bit annoying here at level 1. Now, I don't hate the Udyr. but I do think it is pretty binary. And the ways in which Impact can make an impact, no pun intended, on this game are going to be reliant on a lot of map control, reliant on his ability to flank, whether he has a lead in his lane, if Umpty can get some ganks for him, maybe he can put the pressure on this Cassante. Otherwise, he's just going to be a relatively weak front line that double AD carry bot lane is going to rip through. And he's not going to be that slippery into a Vi either.
Oh, got a bit of a late invade here for T1. I think understanding that there was a very high likelihood that once again Team Liquid are going to go for a bit of a lane swap. That has indeed occurred. And as we can see, Zeus is still waiting towards the top side with a bit of an idea of what's happening. So APA now going to have to worry about Carrier's Ashe that we just haven't had the pleasure of seeing. Even in the LCK so far this season, it hasn't been something that Carrier's ever been allowed to play.
Yeah, it's permaban. Like we said earlier, it's not really a pick that is ever allowed through. Zeus going to lose half his health bar.
Yep, still just wants to be able to get the experience for those melee minions, so looked a little bit curious, but was just trying to get as much as he could. As Impact doing exactly the same thing, but he has to deal with two ranged auto attackers, and one of them that slows you down every time they shoot you.
Look who's here.
Frustrating.
You can't do those Krugs. Not allowed. And unfortunately for Impact, he's not going to be able to do anything about this. Similarly, though, Umpty is taking the jungle of Owner on the top side. Zeus, I go back here, grab a pot.
Has to waste some time, though. The little Krug chasing Impact down there and just chilling with him underneath the turret means that it's going to take a while for Owner to actually finish off the camp. So he does so in the end, standing on a ward. And Impact well aware of what could be coming for him.
So I want to talk a little bit. Okay, we're going to maybe have something occur here. Impact is very good at wave clear. That's one of the good reasons to pick Udyr in this situation, because his wave clear in a lane swap is pretty fantastic. As meanwhile up here, Zeus in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Umpty's already rotated up. There's the Bramble Smash as he flashes away, and that is first blood clean dive from TL.
Huge win for them. They should be able to grab some plate gold here, as Zeus is going to teleport back to the lane, but not in time, and they may just go for it again.
Yeah, round two. That's going to be CoreJJ taking out the turret this time, and Zeus straight out of the Death Chamber, straight back in, and the juggle is beautiful.
Thanks for plus 300, and I'm almost ready to certify this one as well. Plate going to go down here, a little bit awkwardly timed, unfortunately, for those recalls, but man, he didn't learn from Bin, did he?
No!
This is a bit of a rough start here. Now, Udyr also, in fantastic wave clear, can deal with this bottom push, even with Jibber in the mix. Jibber's so good at wave clear. I think that's why this pick specifically was chosen, just in case of the lane swap. Strong into the 2v2, but good at pushing waves in. But Impact is really holding his own here, and unfortunately, there's no way for Owner pre-6 to actually have the same sort of impact that we saw from Umpty topside, and now CoreJJ's back.
Yeah, the bear diving forward as Gumayusi wanted to try and kill him. I think they had a very good idea as to what was happening, but tried for the opportunistic execution, and now it's just going to be a regular 2v2, but Jan has that 1-0-1 on the scoreline alongside CoreJJ with the same. So this is definitely a much better lane state than what it could have been, moving into a laning phase against double 80 carry that we know provides so much pressure, especially piloted by these players. As CoreJJ, unfortunately, going to find out that there's a whole bunch of bad guys there. Jan having to dash without being able to go through a wall, and there is a cleanse, but it doesn't quite work out. Phenomenal spell shield here from Gumayusi as they're looking for even more as T1 answer back on the bottom side, and Jan gonna miss out on this full wave.
Yeah, I was going to mention right before this that, Yun was significantly behind in CS because they went for that double dive top side. He had to rotate bottom, was very late, so Guma picked up some extra farm, but now, he's further behind, obviously, as well, and taking a look at this one more time. The idea here is fantastic for the side of T1. Umpty's still top side. Owner coming through here. Yun flashes, but Owner can follow flash for that extra damage. Guma spell shields the knockup perfectly here, as you pointed out, and is able to walk away scot-free. Carrier commits the heal just in case, and it's just enough to get him away. So a kill going over to Guma, still furthering that CS lead.
This is pretty doomed for Zeus, though, as we can see.
Yeah.
Impact was holding onto that freeze for quite some time. You can see 10 CS for the Cassante.
Umpty also was able to catch up a lot in farm during that because he wasn't involved in the play. He was pretty significantly behind, but actually is now caught up. These lanes a lot matters. You always have to kind of take stake of each and every lane. Like every action has an equal and opposite reaction elsewhere. But the big win, like you said, is Impact being 2 levels up on Zeus at the moment. You can see his XP bar to the top right of your screen next to his level 4. He is far from it.
Going to be secured by Impact, and Zeus not even able to get up to it.
Look at the XP bar of Impact. He's close to 7. Zeus is sitting at like 1/3 of 5. So yeah, he is really far behind. And this Udyr pick, we talked about how it can, from behind, really have a lot of problems. But with this lane swap and the wave clear and how well he dealt with Guma's push bottom side, now the advantages he's picked up because he's been able to get so much farm, he's really getting value out of it.
He certainly is. And we haven't even looked at the mid lane whatsoever. So this Vi Talia, you know, that we've seen have so much power, it's not even relevant yet. As the grubs go down, that is going to be Umpty securing all 3 of them as APA dives in on top of Faker. Seismic Shove going to remove him, but still the trade is going to be okay for the Tristana. But with that big rock landing, never mind. It's actually just colossally not great. Still, Owner going to be able to secure the first dragon of the game. That's going to go over to T1. And TL still retaining a slight advantage as far as gold is concerned, and I think they're going to be pretty happy with how this one's going. Impact behind turrets, and this is the kind of Udyr that we're happy to see, right?
You start getting that lead, and you just keep pushing the issue, making it very awkward here for Zeus, and once Umpty hits level 6, you know, you won't be necessarily safe. As you can see, Impact is just happy to even tank this turret here and try to play some games with Zeus. Come over here now with some grubs. They pick those up on the top side as well, going to allow him to get more gold here in terms of this extra plate. Now, bottom side, though, could be in shambles here a little bit. Owner, experience lead here, has level 6. I do not think this is a fight TL should take over red. Should be willing to concede this one.
Yeah, CoreJJ can at least figure things out with the Gleaming Quill. An opportunistic little chance there with the Extendo Beam, but not able to actually grab the Bramble back. And so that's going to be another steal coming on through here. Still, TL have full vision of the top side of the map of T1, and so it could just be a counter red taken by Umpty, but he's sort of nowhere near right now, and it looks like Owner is just beelining right towards that buff as Carrier taking a bit of damage. But Yun and CoreJJ, I think, realizing that in a straight-up 2v2, it's very difficult to stand toe-to-toe with this Sivir Ashe lane.
So when I look at this game state here, I give a pretty big, especially after this, I give a pretty big edge to T1 because, yes, the Cassante is massively far behind, 20 CS behind at the moment, lost some plates. Udyr is almost 800 gold ahead, but they still have Talia by. They still have a lot of proactive plays they can make. A Cassante from behind could still catch up later and become tanky and still be relevant. And Udyr with a massive advantage may be useful now, but if you can't utilize that prio, if you can't put any pressure on, you can't set up any dives onto Zeus or take the whole turret, Zeus will eventually just say, well, I don't really care. It's really bad now, but it's going to be okay later on. It's not a massive advantage I'm giving to T1 here, but I do think, considering the damage done, still feels like a pretty good scenario for them. We're going to have to wait and see, though, how these first few fights break out, because that's when you're going to see the Vi, Talia synergy. That's where you have to look for those picks. If they mess it up, Yun gets some gold, catches up. He's only 300 gold behind right now. TL could definitely swing things back. But a good start for them with how this Udyr is working out. Let's see how they use it.
Yeah, it's going to have to be used effectively, and I'm really glad that you bring that up because I think Zeus, his buttons will do things that are good, kind of regardless of the amount of gold he has, but that's a good buffer from APA, able to get out of the Seismic Shove. This time, as Umpty not quite able to find an opportunity here. As Impact, he's going to spend most of his time, I think, behind the enemy turret. Carrier walks over a control ward and doesn't actually see it here. His Impact already on the run. And yeah, he should be all right. Volley going to come on through, still able to eat the ward, and wants to kind of run after Carrier here at the same time. He doesn't have Merc Treads, so Tenacity is at a bit of a premium, but he'll be all right.
Yeah, and Zeus can just teleport to bottom lane here, start to put the pressure back on that lane, see what he wants to do. Could just walk it out, but is going to commit the TP as shown here in picture-in-picture. Man, this is a really awkward moment for TL because you know Zeus can't show up to the fight. Impact has teleport, so maybe you want to heavily commit to this objective, but at the same time, it's Vi, Talia, Weaver's Wall at the ready. You're going to be so cautious about how you're going to approach trying to set up a fight here on the top side of the map, and I think just backing away is a better game plan. 5 seconds till those grubs spawn.
Yeah, control of the river is here for TL. At this point in time, I like this Tribrush ward that T1 does have. The control that they can pick up there as Umpty sees that ward going over. We'll be able to get it down there as okay. There's a grand entrance. Owner going to be the target as cease and desist comes in, but I don't think they're listening to him. Yon's going to take him out. The Grub's getting involved as Gumayushi. He does have On the Hunt running, but APA's diving in. He finds the Buster Shot, sends the Sivir packing, and that's a double kill for the Zeri. TL back on top.
TL back on top. Great ultimate there from Umpty, and also the setup from Core JJ forces the flash out of Keria, and T1 are not first on the play. I think this looks very different if they're diving on the Zeri. If they're the ones starting it off, they know Impact had the ability to just join with the TP. That's always a scary thought. But as you see the setup here, Owner wants to go into Young. Look at his spacing. So well played. Core JJ sets up the charm. Keria has to flash. And look at this ult from Umpty layered on top, guaranteeing an extra CC. And then APA is going to have his time to shine here with an Insect S play. Flashes onto Guma and will force him down. TL, huge win on the fight. I doubted it because they had the setup. T1 were ready, but they just did not expect Core JJ's engage, and TL looked so ready to take every step of that fight, start to finish. Now 1,500 gold ahead.
And I think also they would have taken into account that Faker didn't have his teleport and APA did. Its teleport advantage utilized absolutely beautifully here by TL. And now they're set up to try and do battle for this second dragon. Infernal on the Rift once again. Not going to be the Soul this time. Might be Ocean, might be Chemtech. That wouldn't be great. Hopefully Ox, who's setting up to be on in the area for our second series. Hopefully he's paying attention right now so that we don't get that Chemtech Soul. And as APA trying to take down this top outer in picture while we're doing this, TL kind of getting the better of every situation right now. As Extendo Beam comes in, Gumayushi not getting a lot of value out of the Spell Shield. And Core JJ lying in wait.
T1 just got to give this up.
Yeah, they have to.
Now in a position to Weaver's Wall in and cut this team in half. This is a Zeus at level 9, just sitting under turret against a 6 Void Grub APA, who is just pushing down this turret. Zeus going to eat a bunch of damage. We'll try to clear the wave. This turret is gone.
Yeah. He's just going to be able to get a few more autos into it. A little maybe not come out, and it's just, he's going to require one more wave. But I don't think Zeus can stick around because as soon as that turret is down, he's going to get jumped on. Owner moving up now, but it's going to be a little bit too late. I guess Faker can skate on over, and there is a dragony arrow flying past. Shoutouts to Beryl there, whose skin is going to be employed for this one. Faker wants to try and protect this, but the minion wave has made it to the turret. Seismic Shove is decent as APA is going to get pushed away. And now Owner, he's going to move on up. So he gets into the brush. Let's see what APA can actually get done here. As there's the Buster Shot. Cease and desist comes down. Faker still going to throw out some rocks here, and APA just being a bit frustrating, buying some time. Once the minion wave is going to get a bit of it before he's punched to death by the Vi.
I think if APA plays that a little bit safer there, maybe he actually gets out. The Ash Arrow misses. Faker commits Weaver's Wall. That would have been 2 big ultimates down, and he walks away. But he sticks around it a little bit too long there, and Owner's there with the rotation. Owner also doesn't even have to flash for the ult there, so really well played. Faker gets a plate, but will he die for it? No.
He's going to teleport, and so that's going to get him out of there. Yun, he just trades the ult. Sometimes you just want to press R, and yeah.
He knows it.
Yeah, I would recommend that particular use of the emote in that point in time.
Sometimes you have a whoopsie, it's okay.
Yeah. And if it was a back, so he probably just caught a glimpse of Faker, and he's like, if he's backing, he's dead. And so just presses the R button. Otherwise, they get a teleport and trade for an ult, and you take those.
Still a win to get the teleport out of Faker. They also now have complete topside control. So yes, a plate went over in those final seconds there before they fell off, but TL are going to be able to get this Herald, which will then lead into potentially Dragon control here in 3 minutes. And the biggest and scariest problem for T1 is this Tristana. To me, given all the grubs they've stacked up, how great she's going to be in the side lane, and frankly, how well APA has been playing this tournament. As Impact's got a lot of wave clear here, there's a lot of T1 members on this bottom side, but he should be fine. Let's see what they can get done cross map here, as Yun is also starting to push this side.
Ooh, Faker is, it's a bit of a question mark. Just gets hit by a bunch of damage. Yun's still just up there in the 1v1 as we can see, and the Rift Herald is going to come down. APA dealing with the minion wave. Shelly going to go for a charge.
Core JJ on the flank.
Yeah, and Nature's Grasp is going to come out. Core JJ, is the quickness actually going to be invested? Grand Entrance going to come in as the charm is down onto Owner, and they clear out the minion wave. T1 do not lose this turret for now as Yun gets himself over the wall. A little bit scary, was almost within cease and desist range, but Owner not going to go for that very long journey towards the Baron Pit.
Yeah, it was a very scary moment there for T1, but handled well. Core JJ going to get his back interrupted, but Not going to lead to too much here, as it looked really good for TL when you consider the Maokai ults coming through. You have the setup there for Core JJ, but ultimately that turret still being very healthy and not enough damage actually to follow up on anything. So a lot of tools used here for TL. Had they gotten the turret, you'd feel really good about what their Dragon is going to look like here in a minute 40. They don't have it. Now they don't have the Herald to try to force something with it on Dragon either. So this feels like a pretty small win, but a significant win for T1 at the same time.
Yeah, and if you have a look at the gold, looking at there to the left, Yun and APA are still sitting very much at the top of the table when it comes to that. So in a straight-up 5v5, these 80 carries feeling pretty happy, sitting on their core items for the moment. And this turret, maybe not long for the world, as APA, he's just going to teleport in to try and help take down Zeus. He was tanking up the turret, but Zeus is very, very dead, guys. That is a 0-3 Cassante, and the turret falls as well. And this is another way to create a lot of control of the bottom side of the map prior to a Dragon.
It's just so surgical, the macro from TL. They find a weak point, they abuse it.
The sidestep's good too, as Ona moves on in. Impact gonna almost avoids the seismic shove. Cease and desist with the help of the turret. He's going to come through, and he's not that tanky. Ona in the same position though as the explosive charge goes off. Another seismic shove from Faker, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end. The inner turret was under fire, and look at that, it's almost dead. I mean, they were there for like a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds.
That's Tristana, baby. That's APA pushing it through, and T1, they are able to get the Udyr, but it's a traded kill back. 20 seconds until this Dragon spawns. They're going to have to later reset, so this does favor T1. But it's just the quick nature of how TL are moving around the map, seeing, okay, we tried to push the Herald mid, get a pick. Doesn't work. We're going bottom lane, we're getting a pick, we're getting a turret. Oh, you guys are a little bit late on the defense? We're going to get 3/4 of this turret. And they'll even take a 1-for-1 trade there in the end. Now, Dragon should be going to T1. They're actually going to reset as well. Not going to actually go to start that one up. They don't feel like they have the damage, so maybe I'm going to eat my words on that one, as TL actually coming over here faster, so they get most of the turret, trade 1-for-1, get Zeus, get a bottom outer, and now they're going to get their second Dragon of the game. Cross map here, Impact. Let's see if he can clear this wave.
Yeah, and he's very tanky. It's not going to be the Leandri's build, as the arrow is going to connect here onto the Udyr as well, with a turret to fend off at the same time, even though that stun from the arrow lasted about 400 years. Impact is still able to just soak it up, unless... Okay, Weaver's Wall comes through. Impact is very fast. Cease and desist comes in. There's the flick. And there goes the Udyr. They had to invest a fair bit.
They're losing a lot.
Yeah, in a turret in trade for an Udyr, I guess you'll take that. As Zeus is also going to go down. The Unstoppable does come in. Umpty, he's going to be CC'd up, but he's so tanky. It does not matter. And it was even APA tanking the turret. Are they going to take even more?
I think so.
Comes on over. He can't defend it.
This blue side first pick, Tristana, is getting mad value in this game, Atlas. Mid turret's down as well. TL just out macroing T1 with this draft once again. Now Faker will be able to at least get the majority of this turret. Indecisive on the recall, will pick up the gold here in the end, decides not to go back, but the damage has been done to the base, and every time you open up an inhibitor, that Tristana is always going to be a threat. That one goes down, that unlocks potential Baron takes for TL, because it's on the opposite side of the map, that bottom inhibitor, and TL have just been so quick. They find an angle, Zeus is not tanky enough. Look at his build, Hollow Radiance. That's not going to be enough against this 2-item Tristana. They can push him, push the turret, and if T1 are trying to cross-map topside against an Udyr, the Udyr is working well in this draft. He buys so much time, he's got so much wave clear, so slippery, forces the buy ultimate. Like, thank you very much for dying, Impact, because we're getting way more than T1 got. Yeah, look at the bottom lane.
And the only lead that's here for T1 is Ona with a bit of extra gold. And otherwise, it's 1,000 here, 1,000 there for TL. And that is on all of the members that kind of want that money. TL now moving up here towards this top side. Ona on a decent flank angle. APA might get caught out. Let's see. Oh, actually still in that fog of war. It's Umpty that's going to go for the face check. And he can, because he is a big tanky tree. He's flashing. There are 4 members of T1 up here, Umpty. I don't know whether this is really what you wanted. He'll be taken down. Gumayusi grabs that kill. And now the teleport's in from Zeus at the same time. They want even more off the back end of this one. Still, APA does massive amounts of damage. The all-out comes in. And the ulti's there from Yun as well. Let's see whether they can actually answer. As the extender beam splits up the fight. Great flash from APA as Ona tries to get that Vault Breaker through. He doesn't have cease and desist, but here's the Weaver's Wall. It's split off the fight completely, and APA, he'd have to invest the rocket jump if he wants to get on over. Both of the tanky members from TL were eviscerated, and now T1 have so much momentum.
Oh man, you could take Umpty out of Pro, but you can't take the Pro out of Umpty. Yeah, the T1 fans are calling him a Giga Chad for that one, because that was a bit of an overextension, a lack of vision there. Thought he found an angle onto Faker and Owner, thinking perhaps Kuma and Carrier were far enough away, but unfortunately CoreJJ's rotation is way too slow. Miscommunication here on the side of TL. All things considered, this fight goes decently for them despite the really bad, setup, because they lose too early. But with double 80 carry here and how big APA is, they can almost make it work. If they get that kill on the Zeus, get a jump reset, there might be an angle. But T1 strike back in a huge way in that last fight.
They certainly did. And Gumayusi just quietly ricocheting 1 billion damage around the fight. And see able to do a whole lot, and APA still requiring our respect in this game. As you saw, it was almost the entirety of Zeus' health bar just eaten by this Tristana, who does have those 2 items now completed, one of them being an Infinity Edge. That's a pretty cool one. And so now TL moving towards this Baron Pit once again, and I think that we shouldn't be fooled. They are still very, very strong in this game, and they are starting off this Baron.
He could just lock them out with his ultimate as well. They don't have a lot of vision, though. Faker's going to TP in.
Yeah, they do get the teleport, so TL already a bit up in this particular situation. Are they going to flip it, though, is the question. A cease and desist, and he manages to take the Baron and flashes out and says, thanks for the leash.
Yeah, this was a really rough call here for TL with no real vision control. I think they just said, I think we get away with it against T1. You usually don't. Really great in and out play from Owner.
That was a drive-by.
A Vault Breaker over the wall. Smite flashes out, gets the steal. Thanks for leash. Now this gold lead, which was almost breaking 5,000, is very diminished here. And with T1 having the Baron, they should be able to pull ahead. If you had vision there, if you had Umpty in a position to actually lock them down and secure this, it would have felt a lot better about the take, because they had positional advantage, but not a lot of information about T1 coming through. So a call where I think TL really seeing the blood in the water going, if we get this, we get so much more map control. We have the Tristana, but maybe backing away there, actually securing vision might have been the better play, as T1 are happy with their decision.
Absolutely. And now we've got 14 seconds on this Ocean Dragon. T1 can even the score when it comes to that particular neutral objective. He can utilize the Baron to try and get that extra control, and we know Gumayusi able to eat up these minion waves. Zeus going to deal with the wave on the top side as grand exit here for CoreJJ, wanting to battle dance over to Yun, and he is going to be able to get there. Still, might have to go for a reset now, as the Dragon has spawned. No one really paying it too much mind right here, and Impact just needs to deal with this mini wave that's about to kill the outer turret on bottom side.
Okay, Faker nearing death cap as well. He's about to be huge in this game, damage-wise. Has otherwise been pretty quiet this game. Has made some big plays when we go to the team fights, but hasn't actually been able to do all too much. Might make a play now.
Impact almost able to get to the other side of the wall, and then realizes that there are a whole lot of bad guys moving down towards the bottom lane.
But top side.
Yeah, it is going to be an inner turret in trade, and I don't think APA is going to waste very much time taking this one down. Zeus also maybe caught out of position, but no. Very hard to chain CC a Cassante.
This feels really good for TL. I mean, this is during Baron that they're trading turrets like this, and yes, T1 will even up the Dragons as a result of this, but Arrow going to sail wide, and this is during T1's Baron buff. They get a turret. It's going to take Faker a lot of time to get over to this one that's full health, so there's just not going to be a turret in exchange here for T1. So once again, that weak side Udyr putting in work, buying time for this 6 grub Tristana to wreck another turret.
And T1, they will even out the Dragons. That's what they were able to claim for it, and also claim back a whole bunch of control. Seeing here with the last few seconds of the Baron, they want to try and take down this outer turret. It is going to be Impact teleporting in to defend it. That will be successful. So empowered recalls to get that quick reset, and then back onto the map for T1. But what this Baron has done is it's triage, right? What it's done is given them back a whole bunch of money into those coffers. Yeah, and now we're going to have very even team fights moving further forward.
Baker does have his Weaver's Wall here, so TL need to be super respectful. This is still a Vi composition.
Yeah, Umpty could once again be in trouble. Seismic Shove almost pushes him back over the wall, and there's no response because the wall cuts off the rest of TL. Umpty, we've seen this before, but he got caught out a bit earlier on, and now it's once again finds himself in the death chamber.
Yeah, this is T1 really starting to get back in the driver's seat. They got the Baron, the triage you mentioned is a great way to put it, but TL moving a bit too far into the jungle there without controlled vision, trying to take it away, but punished by Faker. Now has Death Cap. Owner did not ult, by the way, and he's getting ready.
Yeah, great buffer there from APA this time around. Avoids the seismic shove. He's got his eye in for that one. Is now T1 looking for another inner turret. They don't need a Baron to lock this one down. They've just got so many members, and they will be able to secure it. Core JJ wanted to find the opportune time to get in. T1 not really giving him that opportunity.
This is the moment when the North American fans start to see the dream slip away, because you were so ahead, you had such control over the map. You're not out of it by any means, but after that failed Baron, things have really looked T1's way, and then, you know, this is the moment here. You could see arrows coming through, hits impact, the block is good, but unfortunately the Vi is able to get in and get out. It's the Vault Breaker to come through, not the Vault Breaker, but the Cease and Desist, whatever they call that ult nowadays. They keep changing the name. Anyway, gets in, flashes out, gets the steal. Then they're pushing through topside to try to set up some vision. Umpty is punished, and Faker's Talia, kind of quiet early game, very strong late game we're getting to here now.
Oh yeah, he's 3-0-4. And he's been a part of the majority of the kills that T1 have picked up. And I think the things we said earlier in the draft took a while to come into play, but now they really are, because T1 has so much setup. They have so much control, and if they get the map, then it's really, really hard for TL to try and fight back for it, because as soon as owner presses R, then someone will die. That's just kind of how it goes.
And TL, excuse me, Team Liquid were so reliant on the Tristana pressure, but they've kind of pulled all those turrets off the map, and there's no more gotcha, got you on the cross map on this one. Pushing the inhibitor with lack of map control they have now is kind of a pipe dream. Look at the bottom lane, how pushed out it is. We're gonna see Impact try to maybe set something up here. Unfortunately, the rest of the map is looking bleak here, and then you have to walk into where you don't have vision, and then bam, CC into CC into CC, like we talked about in draft. Does T1 take a gold lead here, a significant one, but it's still 1,000 gold a piece, or the difference here.
Yeah.
It's the map control that's scarier than the money.
Certainly is. You can see TL had such a big advantage. Carrier taking a fair bit of poke from the extendo beam, as Faker's going to be able to clear out the Rift Scuttler. Baron now back on the table, and TL, they still have so many tools, right? Tristana and the Zeri is so much DPS in these fights. They need to get themselves together as the Weaver's Wall comes on down. There's a huge pushback from Zeus, who's in amongst 4 people right now. Gumayushi, the only one there to back him up, and they want to take him down, but they're not going to be able to do so. Cease and Desist comes in on top of Core JJ, and then it's Owner that's out once again. APA torn apart, and T1. That was absolutely gorgeous. The flash forward from Faker to finish the job, and it's just Impact that's left alive. I think T1 are kind of done with this game.
I think they're done with it. They want to push down this inhibitor and end the game. So close to escaping was APA there, almost over the wall. Owner with a heroic plays there in those final moments. Impact, last man standing, picks up a Zonia's here. Let's see what he can do.
Well, he does go golden, but that's not going to apply to his turrets, unfortunately, so they will be taken down. Core JJ is going to respawn. It's not going to be his day, though, today, as T1 will move to the finals here at EWC, and they will keep their key alive. Unfortunately for TL, they're going to have to watch theirs bend.
T1 coming back in this final game. Never so far behind that they could not return into it. Their composition worked as designed with those chain CCs. It was just one slip up, one Baron steal. They were back in the driver's seat. They took that vision away, and from then on, it was tough to put that Tristana inside. Oh, you could see Core JJ super unhappy. They were so close. That would be the first time in North America has taken out a Korean team in an international like this in a long time. And I know the NA fans were really feeling how close it was. Dominant game 1. Game 2, they fell back behind, but game 3, they really had the edge. But it all slipped away. T1 with 2 narrow wins, right? The BLG series, very close. The comeback there. This third game, comeback there. They make it to the grand finals. But I think some things are going to have to change. There's still some things to work on before they move into that best of 5 tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were saying right before they became the world champions last year. So I don't know, Wolf. I think that it's all looking the way of T1 here. This is precisely how they get it done. It's just right on the brink. A big smile from Coma there and a thumbs up from Faker. Now, I think it's time for us to throw it over to the stage.
Hello everyone, welcome to the center of the stage after T1 just had a formidable victory over Team Liquid. We're joined here with Zeus from T1. Thank you so much for joining. Congratulations on your win. Talk us through the emotions right now.
일단 제우스 선수 승리 축하드리고요. 지금 심정이 어떠신지 한번 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
네. 너무 어려웠던 게임이었는데 좀 너무 잘 극복해낸 것 같아서 저희 팀원들이 그래서 아직 얼떨떨한 것 같고 아직 또 살아남았다는 거에 감사한 것 같습니다.
Well, I'm just relieved that I survived for another day. I mean, it was a really, really hectic game, but my teammates and myself survived through all this, so that's what I feel.
Well, with surviving, you also have access to the key of your opponent. So we will have the team captain from Liquid come up to the stage to hand over the key. Guys, can we have it one more time for Liquid? Please do take it. It's yours to keep. Thank you so much, Core JJ. All right. Another one added to the collection. This one was maybe a little bit more difficult. It went all the way to the 3-game series. What were your expectations individually coming into this game?
일단은 굉장히 힘든 경기였기 때문에 사실 이렇게 어려운 경기가 될 거라고는 생각지 못하셨을 것 같은데 좀 예상은 어떠셨나요?
일단 팀 리퀴드에서 좀 전략을 잘 준비했다고 생각했고 1, 3세트 모두 다 라인 수합에서 1세트 때는 바텀이 많이 손해보고 3세트 때는 탑이 좀 손해를 많이 봐가지고 좀 어떻게 보면 계속 초반에 힘든 게임이었던 것 같은데 그래도 세 번째 판은 저희 팀원들이 너무 잘해줘서 잘 극복해낼 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
Well, obviously, Team Liquid prepared a lot strategically, so we struggled a lot. In the first game, we suffered in the bottom lane, and the third game, we suffered in the top lane. But I think in Game 3, we somehow managed to fight it off.
Something that Team Liquid was doing time and time again were the lane swaps, their unique lane setups. How do you adapt to that on the fly when it's maybe not something you're expecting?
일단은 팀 리퀴드의 이런 라인 수업 전략에 대해서 좀 카운터를 그래도 좀 준비를 하셨을 것 같긴 한데 막상 그래도 이렇게 부딪히시니까 좀 어떤 기분이 드셨나요? 좀 어떻게 이제 대처를 좀 하시게 됐나요?
일단 당연히 라인 수합을 준비했을 거라고는 예상했던 것 같고요. 그냥 사실 라인 수합 자체가 어느 한쪽이 좀 대처를 잘못하면은 한쪽이 좀 과하게 많이 손해볼 수 있는 그런 상황이 나올 수 있기 때문에 일단 좀 다시 돌려봐야 할 것 같긴 한데 좀 저희 대처가 좀 미흡하지 않았나 생각이 듭니다.
Well, obviously, I expected the lane swaps from Team Liquid, but the lane swap itself is kind of a neck and neck situation. So if one party does not play well, then the balance shifts dramatically. So I think we need to revise our games and see what went wrong.
All right, we have one more game coming up today, and that is going to be G2 going up against Top Esports. Do you have a favorite to have a rematch with in the finals?
이제 결승에서 이제 G2 아니면은 TES를 상대하시게 될 텐데 그 둘 중에서 상대하고 싶으신 팀이 있을까요?
사실 경기한 대회나 이제 스크림에서 해봤을 때 G2도 너무 잘하는 팀이라고 느꼈고 또 그리고 TS도 대회에서 너무 좋은 모습을 보여줬기 때문에 정말 누가 올라와도 좀 힘든 상대가 될 거라고 예상할 것 같고 그래도 오늘처럼 좀 끝까지 포기하지 않고 계속 시도하다 보면은 좋은 기회가 있을 거라고 생각해서 열심히 해야 될 것 같습니다.
Well, I mean, the scrims, G2 were very powerful, and of course, TS showed a really great potential as well. So we'll see. They're both great teams, but we will prepare for anything, and we'll try on all the odds. We'll try against all odds here, so we'll prepare as well a lot.
All right, looking forward to it. Once again, congratulations on making the finals. Thank you so much, Zeus, for joining me. Thank you, Maddox, for the translation. Digon, we're going to be heading over back to you.